Hi, I'm Brenda Ellis, author of Artistic Pursuits, an art curriculum for preschool through high school. And today I wanted to talk about something I call intentional wandering. Now, intentional wandering is just a way to describe walking through your world with a purpose. The reason we need to do this is because our brains are designed to evaluate a situation before we even get into it. There's so much in our world and so much input that our brains are made to say, hey, this is not important, this is important. So a lot of times our brains are making the decisions for us. And that's why a lot of people walk through the world and don't notice the sunset or how the light shines on a tree or any of those beautiful things that are in our world and available to us every day. If you are always on the internet or on your phone, you are not seeing the whole world. It appears that there is so much information on our phones, and there really is. But as far as seeing, there's really very little. There's a lot more that you can see in the world around you. Your phone is a very small world. So I really encourage you to get outdoors and take a look at what is out there. It's amazing. So intentional wandering is when we design a little trip and we give some purpose to it. So when I was a parent of young children, we would take walks, just simple walks around the block. But I would say, today we're going to look at the leaves. My children thought that was wonderful. They would find the tiniest little leaves and we'd look at the shapes of leaves. Now, another thing we did was look at trees, and that's a lot of fun because trees come in all different shapes and sizes. We made comparisons about things, but what it was an exciting trip. It wasn't just that we were trying to get somewhere. We were walking with a purpose, and it really opens up the brain to be able to see new things. Other ways we practiced intentional wandering was to make a trip to the zoo. And every child had their own sketch pad, and they were all able to draw whatever animal caught their interests. And the zoo is good, of course, because it's a new environment. And animals are always doing different things. There's just so much to see. And why are we interested in seeing anyway? It really is that when we see more, we become better artists. We're building a body of knowledge that we can then take from and pull from in our minds as we're creating on paper. This whole idea of waking up the brain, making it pay attention, this is why people love to go on trips to new places because, you get used to what you live around and your brain just shuts it off. You don't look at it anymore. But when you go to a new place, a new destination, you're seeing sights, you're hearing sounds that you've never heard before, and your eyes are open, and your brain is awake, and you're paying attention. And that's really what we're trying to do in art. Is trying to get our mind to pay attention to what we're seeing. And when we do that, and when we practice that, and when that becomes a regular skill, you are well on your way to becoming a great artist. Hey, let's go into some intentional wandering today. Go outdoors. Perhaps it's just your backyard, and see what you can find there. You might look for flowering plants, smooth stones, or branches with a few leaves. You can draw any subject while you're outdoors, but I brought these dandelions indoors so that I could film this drawing. Tear your paper so that it is just a bit bigger than the objects you draw. Remember that I'm looking from the side, so I see things in a different way than you do. To draw the oval of the glass, I make marks that are the same length when measured from the center. The top line is the length of the bottom line. The right side is the length of the left side. I can draw a better oval as I connect the ends of these lines. Turn the paper when you need to in order to use your wrist to make the curves. Now I've sped up the drawing. You can see that I've used the same technique to make the curve of the bottom of the glass. Take your time, focus on the edges. As I draw the dandelion heads, I draw complete circles where they face me directly. Sometimes the flower head is at a different angle, so I might see an oval or a slice of a circle as I've drawn here. I draw the surface of the water and the stems in the water. Draw all of the edges that you see with lines. Now that I've drawn the big shape of the flower head, I have a boundary for all the fine petals. I look at the petals and leave spaces where the petals don't meet. Now you might notice that I haven't drawn every single petal. And that's okay, because people understand when they look at your drawing, if you've drawn a little bit of something, they will fill in the rest of it with their imaginations. Now I usually finish a drawing by going over the lines that I want to make darker. I make darker lines by pressing a bit harder on the pencil, and I make darker lines where I want people to really notice. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed learning to draw from observation. Be sure to sign up on our email list so that you can receive notifications of each new lesson. And I'll see you next week.